The Capital Dialogue event has started of NewsX with General VK Singh, Union Minister.
Former Army Chief, he's been in the Union government for the better part of 9 years and currently Union Minister of State for highways, road transport, civil aviation, and of course he's a Member of Parliament from Ghaziabad in Uttar Pradesh. General VK Singh, can we have a very big round of applause, please? General, thank you so much for sparing your time to sit and have this session with us. Now, what you are doing is something that people, both watching this and sitting in the audience, can touch and feel. Building highways. Right as COVID was ending, I had a very strange experience. I left my house and I had reached Karnal before I hit the first red light, because there were so many highways back to back, clover leaves. And this is something you can touch and feel. How has this speed of highway construction increased so dramatically? So what have you got right?
Let me start by saying that infrastructure has been the backbone of development that you see over the last 9 years. Especially so because I think Modi ji, who took the helm of affairs in 2014, understands that it is infrastructure which will result in boosting the economy. So there has been a sustained spotlight, if I can put it that way. And I would also like to compliment my Prime Minister for giving a very clear vision as to how things should happen. For the first time, I think, in the history of India, we had somebody giving directions that there should be connectivity along the borders and those areas which have seen less development, clubbed under Bharatmala. There's somebody who said, look here, we need economic corridors of connection so that the manufacturing hubs, exporting hubs, importing hubs, the ports, all can be connected. We must have connectivity between the various metros improved along with those areas which are considered backward, so that development reaches those areas. And therefore you see that almost today, we have got approximately 62 lakh kilometers of network. In this network, approximately 1,50,000 kilometers is national highways. And about 1,80,000 is state highways, and rest is all other roads. These highways are making a difference today. We have connected strategic areas. We have connected those areas which hitherto nobody had thought of it. And we have also rendered quality work so that things improve. And to give you an example, there's a road which is coming up from Amritsar to Bhatinda to Bikaner, going right down almost along the border, right up to Jamnagar. I don't think anybody had ever conceived such a road. It has got tremendous advantages from all points of view. Of manufacturing hubs being connected to ports, area connectivity being improved. In strategic terms, it has got its own meaning. Similarly, you look at the way the timings have been cut down. It used to take me almost better part of 3 hours to come from Ghaziabad to Delhi in 2014. Today it takes me half an hour. It takes just 1 hour, in fact lesser, if I go from here to Meerut.
Correct.
And the moment our Dehradun Expressway is ready, you can travel to Dehradun in about 2 hours or 2.5 hours. When our expressway is ready to Amritsar, you can do it in 4.5 hours. When our expressway is ready to Katra, you will take 6 hours. Srinagar will just take 8 hours. We are making 2 huge tunnels. One of the longest is Zojila, 14.5 kilometers, to connect Kashmir to Ladakh. You name an area, You can travel from Bangalore to Chennai in 2 hours. It's a revolution that is taking place. And all those who have ever traveled on the recently opened stretch of
Jaipur.
Delhi, Vadodara, Mumbai expressway can see the quality that has come about. It is like any other country that you would see whom you consider as a developed country. The speeds we have put down as 120, although we see people traveling at 140 and still feeling pretty good about it. There are wayside amenities every 30 kilometers so that people can rest and we don't have accidents. This network is what is going to boost our economic strength and take India forward in many ways.
And there's so many things, because now it's become, the remarkable thing, there's the Trans-Arunachal Highway also coming up, exactly the same. The remarkable thing is that earlier the biggest problem in building infrastructure used to be getting the land acquisition, getting the clearances done, and there hasn't been a single protest, a single problem. Now, we're going to take questions from the audience, so I'll get microphones spread across, but I also wanted to introduce our co-anchor, Professor Madhav Nalapat. He's the editorial director of the Sunday Guardian. Professor Nalapat.
We have met a few times.
So please, your question, sir.
Yeah, look, I'd like to say, General Singh, that there is, for a long time, some states in India were leading in growth. Some states were holding behind. UP was always considered to be in the latter category. Today, you got a different narrative about UP. It's a state that is really clearly seen as being in the front rank of progress in our country. So, since we are talking about the largest state in the country, what are your views on the reason for this kind of transformation in the perceptions of UP, from being a very slow coach to being almost an engine of progress?
Nalpat, the thing is that UP, which was considered backward for many reasons. The communication arteries were weak. There was corruption, there was law and order issues. All this changed in 2017 when we got a government led by Yogi ji, and under the directions of Modi ji, there has been a great amount of change that has taken place. The first and foremost that he concentrated on was law and order. Today, I think, especially when you ask our people in Uttar Pradesh, in one voice they will tell you that is the biggest change that has taken place in Uttar Pradesh. And that change means what? It means that developmental work can carry on. It means roads can be built, expressways can be built, airports can be built. It means that business can come in. And the recent investment summit that has happened, huge investments are coming in. People are keen to establish their factories, their manufacturing hubs, their hospitals in Uttar Pradesh because they feel that that's a stable state, progressing well under the leadership that it has, and it has the backing of the Prime Minister.
Excellent.
It's a fascinating development. We've been just doing some documentation of this in the past couple of months. There's so much to talk about because there's toll optimization, then of course the airport construction. So I'm going to slip in these questions along with some audience questions. Can we get them hopped across now? I can see Rakesh has got a microphone, and then anybody please raise your hands, we'll get a microphone to you. Rakesh.
जनरल साहब के बारे में एक महत्वपूर्ण बात, क्योंकि मैं पॉलिटिकल रिपोर्टर रहा हूं और हूं भी, तो मैं जितने मंत्रियों के पास, खास तौर पर जो अधिकारी ब्यूरोक्रेट से आते हैं या अन्य क्षेत्रों से, जनरल साहब का मैंने देखा, मैंने उनसे अभी तक नहीं कहा, लेकिन जो ब्यूरोक्रेट से मंत्री बनते हैं उनमें अंतर जनरल साहब में मैंने देखा कि जो शेड्यूल टाइम है, शेड्यूल में होता है कि ऑफिशियल शेड्यूल है, लेकिन अगर जनता अगर गाजियाबाद से आई है तो उसी बीच में टाइम निकल कर मिलने वाले पहले ऐसे मंत्री मैंने देखा अभी तक मैं इतने दिनों में, जो कि बीच टाइम में लोगों से मिलते हैं, लोगों से इंटरेक्ट करते हैं। नहीं ऐसे आप जाइए तो 11 बजे शेड्यूल है, 2 बजे 4 बजे, लेकिन जनरल साहब ऐसे मंत्री हैं जो कि मोदी सरकार में, जबकि जो अपने जनता से पहले मिलते हैं उसके बाद बैठक शुरू करते हैं। ये तो मैंने इनके बारे में बताना चाहा कुछ चीज़ें। लेकिन एक प्रश्न जो है जनरल साहब, राहुल गांधी विदेश की धरती पर जिस तरह से जो बातें कर रहे हैं, आप पूर्व थल सेना अध्यक्ष रहे हैं, चाइना के बारे में जिस तरह से वे लगातार बातें करते हैं, यूक्रेन से तुलना करना, ये किस तरह से आप देखते हैं राहुल गांधी के बयान को लेकर?
Okay. So Rakesh has jumped into the politics. I'll take a few more questions, sir. Then I'll address them with you one by one. Anybody else? I think Alok ji wants to have ask a question. Alok Mehta ji. Right behind you, sir.
जनरल साहब, मेरा नाम आलोक मेहता है. I met you when you built Manek Shah Bhavan, and the cost was 27 crores or so, what I still remember. At the time you invited a few editors, journalists. So I'm asking, in construction business, most of the charges about the corruption. And that's why at that time also we were surprised if that government given to somebody else must be more than 170 crores or something like that. Somebody who knows the construction business. So I just wanted to know these type of highways, roads, constructions. Maybe that's why Prime Minister also chose you, how to make a corruption-free the construction work in India. In housing, I'm not talking housing, but even the roads. And I remember in other regimes, most of even the politicians' family used to get the contract, and still they made money. So how you make it more corruption-free with the agenda of Prime Minister Modi?
Okay, so on Rahul Gandhi and China on corruption-free construction, I think Ambassador Vora wants to ask a question. The mic is right behind you, sir.
Sir, with your permission. My name is Deepak Vora, Ambassador Deepak Vora. I'm privileged to serve 3 countries in Africa. Very simple question, sir. 50, 100 years from now, how would General VK Singh like to be remembered?
Okay, poignant one. All right, and that's probably the toughest question. Okay, I think Wing Commander Bakshi, go ahead.
General sir, we know each other since childhood. I have honor to ask you that the road construction, increasing the connectivity is absolutely very good. From the strategic point of view, exceptional. And dual purpose roads which are coming up, which can land aircraft and which can land, is that also still in your purview? Are you still concentrating on this, or we have finished with that? I personally feel there should be more. And secondly, I'd like to ask you, sir, what about the Uttarakhand and our Arunachal to Ladakh, the area where the road construction is there, is that also coming under attention? Because that is going to be a very, very important aspect.
Okay, all right. Let me take you through them one by one. So first on Rahul Gandhi's commentary on China when he was traveling through the UK, sir.
राकेश जी, कोई भी जब मुझसे राहुल जी का सवाल पूछता है, मैं उनको कहता हूं कि मैं जवाब नहीं दूंगा, क्योंकि मैं उनको कोई इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं देना चाहता. वो क्या कहते हैं, कब कहते हैं, कहाँ कहते हैं, एक ऐसी कहना चाहिए पजल है जिसका कोई जवाब नहीं. आप भारत के बाहर जाकर अपने देश की बेइज्जती करते हैं और उसके अंदर कहते हैं जी चीन अच्छा है, हमको उसके साथ ये करना चाहिए. यहाँ पर आकर कहते हैं कि हमारे सैनिक चीन से डर गए हैं. तो कोई अता पता नहीं है कि वो क्या बोल रहे हैं. इसलिए ऐसे व्यक्ति के बारे में जिसको यही नहीं पता कि वो बोल क्या रहा है या उनको समझ में भी नहीं आ रहा है, कुछ कमेंट करना बड़ा मुश्किल है. बस मैं सिर्फ यही कहूँगा, एक हिंदुस्तानी होने के नाते, एक भारतवर्ष के नागरिक होने के नाते आपका कर्तव्य बनता है कि आप अपने देश के लिए मजबूती से खड़े हों, ना कि देश की बेइज्जती करें.
Okay, sir. Corruption-free construction industry at this scale. Alok ji's question.
Corruption has been endemic. There are 2-3 things that we have done. One is make the system transparent, ensure that responsibilities are such that it becomes difficult for somebody to create a niche for himself. See, earlier the issues were put on autonomous mode. Okay, here is a package, so and so has bid for it, there's 4,000 crores, aap jaiye kaam kariye apna sara. So he would go around, he would try to get the land also, he would try to do something else also, and he will use all possible methods to get it done. Whether the road got completed or not, that was not the issue. Today, implementation is the issue. The dates are the issue, the milestones are an issue, and quality is the biggest issue. So when you are concentrating all these, obviously the corruption will go out. So whole emphasis of Ministry of Road, Highways and Transport has been keep everything transparent. E-bidding, we have ensured that no large packages are there. Earlier large packages used to be there, there would be problem. Now packages are small. Smaller people can participate in that. And when you have large number of people participating, the prices come down. That man has his own reputation at stake for the future, so he delivers quality. And that is what removes corruption.
Okay, I'll take the philosophical question last. Uttarakhand development, I'm assuming it was indicated towards border areas and dual purpose roads.
Prafulji, we are concentrating on all the hill states and all the border states. As much as we are doing, I didn't name various things. I mean, if we have connected the Char Dhams and developed those roads, they also assist in other things where the defense requirements are concerned. Similarly is Arunachal. Trans-Arunachal Highway was talked of for a very long time. Today it has started becoming a reality. And we would like to ensure that this results in development in Arunachal. People were leaving the hills. They were coming down because there was no way to reach that area. So that is being taken care of. You also talked of landing on various highways and expressways. It is very much alive. We are even going to the extent of saying that, let's say if Ujjain wants an airfield, so people can come for religious tourism, we can create a runway on the expressway. They can make a small little terminal somewhere on the side, stop the traffic, let the aircraft come, turn around, go. By the time the aircraft, gets its passengers onto it, the road can carry on letting the traffic move. Traffic can be stopped again for a short while and the aircraft can take off. There's so many things that can be done. So we are only inhibited by the imagination, that's all.
Okay, how would you like to be remembered, sir? Ambassador Vora's question.
That's a very difficult question, Deepak. I knew you will ask such a question. I just want to be remembered as somebody who contributed in the development and work in country. That's all.
Okay, I can see several other people who want to ask questions. I have an interjection before that. So just on a topic that we haven't touched upon. Airport construction. Now, we are trying to not do 3-4 airports. We're trying to do 30-40 new airports. You know, you mentioned Arunachal. One there was just inaugurated hardly two months ago. So where is the infrastructure on airport? And you know what the accusation is being put, that this is all crony capitalism. You're handing it over to these big companies and, the government is giving away precious assets. How do you respond to that?
Okay, let me, before I come to handing over part and clarify that issue. Till 2014, we had about 70 airports. Today, we have got 148, which includes the water air drones, which includes the heliports and all other things. Almost double the number. Aim has been to democratize air travel. And that was, again, I would like to compliment our Prime Minister for that. When he said, Hawai chappal pehne wala, Hawai jahaz se chale. Udan scheme. So, it gave us the opportunity to develop disused, unserved, small airstrips into airstrips where smaller aircrafts can land, or airstrips where the other aircrafts can also land, carrying passengers who were in this category of Udan, and there were certain incentives which were put onto this particular scheme. Today, there are almost 1,000 plus, almost 1,100 odd routes that have been bid for. About 500 are approximately operational. Others are getting operational because we are working on these small airfields and enlarging them. In addition, large amount of work has been done to modernize the airports, both in terms of terminals, both in terms of passenger amenities, both in terms of technological facilities at the airports. If your air travel becomes better, it makes things easier for people. And focus also has been on the northeast region. Now, when we said that air travel is becoming better, today we are back to, as far as the passenger traffic is concerned, we are back to better than pre-COVID days. So that's the kind of push air travel is getting.
So where are the projects coming up, sir? Because we know the one in Noida is coming up. I've just mentioned the one that has been that's been inaugurated. Arunachal, you mentioned the Northeast. In the next, let's say, a year or so, which projects are you hopeful will be ready to fly?
You will have Jewar would be ready to fly. We have already opened up, operationalized MOPA in Goa. The Bengaluru Terminal 2 has started. Your Chennai, the enlarged terminal will start operating very soon. The one in, there's a new terminal coming up in Port Blair that will become operational. Tuticorin, we are putting a new terminal out there with additional facilities that will become operational. In the northeast, you have, besides what is already there at Holangi, which has become operational, and Pakyong, you also have improvements in all other areas taking place so that air travel with smaller aircraft can become that much easier, for which the Ministry of Civil Aviation has got a small aircraft scheme. And there was one thing which you mentioned about a common perception that has been created that we are selling the airports. We are not selling. We are leasing. It's a public partnership, private partnership. The bidder has to make an assessment of what we are offering, and he has to pay for that. He pays for that, and it is on lease, and he pays every year that lease money. He develops the airport as per the requirements given to him. He invests his money. So actually it's a win-win situation for the government. It's a private investor who's putting in money, investing in making the airport better, amenities better, and he is also paying the government for taking it on lease. Where is the selling part? I don't know.
Okay, so rather than loss to the exchequer, Professor Nalapat, before we take some questions from the audience.
Yeah, you know, General, you've been in the armed forces, you've been in the front line, and you have had, you know, huge numbers of men under your command, especially as the army chief. You know very well that morale and motivation is a very important aspect of performance. There has been an improvement in performance since Prime Minister Modi took charge in 2014. There's no doubt about it. And the sector that in which you're holding responsibility is part of that. Now, how difficult was this process of transformation, of the motivation, of the morale, because after all, it's not just the Prime Minister or the Minister or the senior officials. It's down the line, hundreds of thousands of people. So how was that basically, how did that transformation come about?
See, transformation happens in two ways. One, when the leader wants transformation, he starts talking to people, motivates a team, and a thing starts. The other is that you have a leader who decides that he must fire the imagination of the public. Jan Bhagidari. And the most, I think, relevant example I can give you is, he said, 75 years of independence, every house should have a national flag. Now, how do you put a national flag on every house? It is his involvement to fire the imagination of people to say, Har ghar tiranga, ghar ghar tiranga. So very soon everybody was having tiranga. Now, once people get involved, transformation is faster. When people get involved, the team that you have works better. When you are able to motivate and give clear directions without any doubts, without any motive for yourself, but the motive being development of the nation, things transform.
Okay, let's get some audience questions here. I think Aishwarya ji, can we get a microphone to her?
General Saab, my question is that one of the main reasons for the changing face of Uttar Pradesh has been, since 2014, the distribution of government schemes and resources which have transcended caste, community and religious lines. So there is no longer distribution of resources which was based on appealing to a particular community and not appealing to the others. So how important was it, in particularly in Uttar Pradesh, to bring about this change? Because that is largely responsible for changing how we even perceive Uttar Pradesh in popular imagination.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll take a few more questions, so then I'll again retabulate. I think there's a lady there, then I see people on this side. Can we get a microphone across to her?
Hello, sir. It's wonderful to see you in person. So my question is regarding, okay, I am the most young person, one of the youngest person over here. I got the last chance to speak on. Okay, it's a nice thing our country is moving towards that one. Not a comment on you, for sure. Okay, so my question is basically regarding Uttar Pradesh, of course. How infrastructure development in Uttar Pradesh is leading to changes in the defense tech investment in that area specifically? Since you come from the defense department, that's why I'm asking you this question.
Okay. Sir doesn't handle the defense department per se, but of course he has long branding. What's your name?
Sejal Punya.
Sejal. Okay. With some people here, I think there's a gentleman in the back, sir, then I'll come to you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Utkarsh Pulkit. So there's no doubt that under Modi government, the infrastructure development have picked pace. But there have been another concern, the fiscal deficit part. Whenever there is capital expenditure, the fiscal deficit goes up. So what the government is doing on that part? Because we have an example like China, where they have invested a lot of money for infrastructure development, but at the moment, the government took all the debt for funding that. So now they are having problems with that, and the debt bubble that they created is about to burst. So what the Modi government is doing to avoid such situation and make a balance between the need and the not that much necessary investments or capital spending.
Okay, build it and they come, they will say, but there's a concept of white elephants also, building too much infrastructure. That was Vikas. We'll take one more gentleman up front, please, and then I'll come to sir for some answers.
Sir, I am Brigadier Shardendu, sir. So my question pertains to national highways. Sir, you have given number of national highways which are newly laid. Extension is taking place, and many places therefore there are a greenfield alignment. India is a huge country, sir. There is a state highway as well, sir, and it links the township, a small little village, and then the major cities and connected with the other infrastructure. So my question is, sir, how much more you are taking on from the state highway? Because state highway requires a relook, resurfacing, realignment, and a lot of resurfacing, and good work is required to be done. National highway is perfectly all right, but the common man will be benefited when the state and national highway both are at par. That is one.
Let me take them one by one.
Second is that new greenfield alignment. I want to know maximum places expansion is taking place, extension is taking place, but I would like to know what is the new greenfield alignment as far as
noted, sir. All right, so let's start with the first one from Aishwarya ji, which was what the PM has recently in Parliament described as green secularism, 100% delivery to 100% people. How important is this when it comes to developmental parameters, sir, in UP, for example?
See, this last mile delivery is the most important factor. Any developmental or welfare scheme that you make, if you are not able to deliver to the last person, things don't happen. And that is why you find that in Uttar Pradesh, when they started looking at this, they started doing Aadhaar seeding and all other cards that existed so that people could take advantage of that and ensure that the benefits of the scheme reach them. And one more thing which, as a philosophy, which Bharatiya Janata Party has had, is we touch all sections of the society. We call it sarvsparshi. We touch everybody. And since you touch everybody, there is no reason for any community, class, society, group to feel neglected, because those who deserve that, who fall into that envelope of the qualification, will get the benefit. And once this confidence goes in, you get people who have greater faith on the government and therefore are able to contribute towards whatever the government wants to. The infrastructure has made a lot of difference. It has made a lot of difference because there were areas segmented which people used to say, okay, Bundelkhand, nobody cares for it. Purvanchal, nobody cares for it. Now, with all these expressways going, time having been cut down, it makes a difference in removing that barrier that used to get created in the minds of people. So I think that has made a difference in the thinking in Uttar Pradesh.
No, and it's economic opportunity. I mean, imagine somebody serving the city of Varanasi. We had them at our last session. And what used to take a 9-hour journey is now 2 hours. So now they can actually provide goods and services, perishable goods and services, where earlier they could not. Okay, now I know this is not your current domain, sir, but I'm sure you track it with a great deal of excitement. Defense production, and I'll take a generic viewpoint on you on this, I understand. Are we at the cusp that we can actually imagine that the defense industry will be a net foreign exchange revenue earner for this country?
See, if your thinking is right, things will happen. And defense production is an industry, is that domain in which we have somehow not trusted our own people. And I'll give you one small example, and Praful will know that better. We made HF-24 Marut, 60s. It was a French design, Delta wing, very nice looking aircraft. We didn't have an engine. We started shopping for an engine. Ultimately, we landed with the Americans who looked at it and they realized that if this aircraft succeeds, the Sabre is not going to sell. So they gave us an engine which was overpowered. We lost, I think, 5 odd pilots, test pilots. Every time the aircraft would take off, it will turn right and crash. Ultimately, it was realized that we can't afford to test more. It was put under a shade somewhere and remained a piece to be seen by people. The French came and had a look at it because they said it is a French design. And they photographed it, measured it, and from that was born the Mirage, which ultimately, one version we have also bought. Why didn't HF-24 succeed? It didn't succeed because we were not ready to trust our own people to do something. Today you are trusting your people to do something. Today you are saying, okay, you want to make a satellite, make it. Our MSME sector will produce those parts which will go into the satellite, and it is happening. Same is with defense production. The day we've started changing that mindset, and that mindset is changing, things are becoming better. We had created cobwebs as part of our system where it takes time and time and time, and by then the technology is old. By the time you actually go and shop, the thing is already old. So today is a time when you have to test out things in a manner in which you can manufacture it here, and people are willing to do that with you.
It's a change. Okay, the more technical question on capital expenditure, very good, sir, but then it comes with high levels of debt. Is that a future risk?
I don't think so. See, like the last 3 budgets have focused on capex, your capital expenditure. Capital expenditure actually injects money into your economy. I mean, if you take the construction industry, It is connected to almost 300, 400 different industries, smaller industries. Somebody is making nails, somebody is making something else, somebody is procuring glass, somebody is fitting it. Now, all those people benefit when you do capital expenditure. And if it is managed properly, if it is managed pragmatically, it will benefit you. If it is left to people, then there would be problems.
Okay, so I mean, so when you're analyzing projects for development, is it like everything needs to be upgraded, or do you have a prioritization based on economic need, economic impact, the current state of certain underserved areas?
There are priorities laid down. Like I said, there are corridors which are economic corridors. There are port connectivity corridors. There are various things laid down that way. Similarly, where the civil aviation sector is concerned, we are looking at, okay, these are larger airfields. They need to be upgraded to type 4 aircraft, wide-bodied, bigger aircraft. These will do with smaller ones. This is the type of passenger intake that will take place from this particular. So it should not be very big, where we invest too much.
Yes.
Should just meet our requirement with scope for future expansion.
Okay, I think that's what the question was. So Brigadier's questions on state highway development. Some states are doing an excellent job, some not so much. And then on greenfield projects.
See, greenfield projects we are concentrating at the moment because we feel the distances can be shortened. And it is easier to construct a greenfield. You don't get involved in built-up areas which have come up near the existing roads. So when you make a greenfield, it is simpler to make a greenfield alignment, avoid the townships so that the travel can be faster. The second advantage of greenfield is like what has happened in case of Delhi, Vadodara, Mumbai. We have gone through areas of Rajasthan which were underdeveloped around Kota. Kota and part of Mandsaur district. Backward areas. Now once an expressway goes through that area opens up. So that also is a criteria when you look at greenfield alignments. And where the state highways are concerned, at the moment the states have to look after it till the major arteries and all other corridors that we want to create are done. Maybe after that we will start looking at it as to what can be the center-state partnership to do up the state highways also at a level and quality that meets the requirement of the nation.
But is it necessary, you know, when we say double engine, is it necessary or can it be done even in states in which other political parties are there?
It depends on how much a state wants to cooperate. It totally depends on that. If a state says, look here, you will do no mining in my area. I won't give you permission to dig up soil in my area, even if you want to create assets for them. If they say, well, everything will have royalty, expenditure goes up tremendously. One of the philosophies that we are trying to do in our ministry is, how do we make roads cheaper? How do we reduce the cement content? How do we ensure that the bitumen cost, which is very high and is imported, what can we do about it as a replacement? So, if you want to make good roads and you want to make it technologically superior and cheaper, lot of cooperation is required.
So you seem to be indicating that there are some states who actually want to make life difficult and are not so excited.
Those are, I suppose, they emanate from the political compulsions.
Okay.
There are some which love to cooperate because the benefit goes to them.
Okay, I want to touch on one policy area on drones. Now, the traditional gut reaction of government used to be that any new technology, first let's ban it and then very slowly release it. The drone policy, which actually put everything in green zone other than certain places which of course have defense and security implications, it's been a pretty forward-looking policy. Is it going to be backed up by application, drone application and a drone search?
It is already being backed up. 90% of airspace is free for drone flying today. It's all green. And we have made the process easier. The compliance regime much simpler. Everything is digitized. And the number of people working on drone applications is tremendous. The other day somebody was telling me that they've created a drone which can carry more than 200 kgs of loads.
Yeah.
If it can carry more than 200 kgs of loads, it's fantastic. There are some of the units of the Indian Army in the mountains which have bought drones so that they can move loads from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. So it saves on mules, it saves on human beings, it saves on time, and it saves on fatigue. So many things happening. Agriculture, my God, the amount of applications that are come is tremendous. So this is one sector which is doing very well. And I don't know if you are aware of it, IIT Madras, it is still called IIT Madras, not Chennai.
Yes.
And IIT Madras has made a drone taxi. It can take 2 people. We were not satisfied with it because we thought that 2 people will never sit together all alone on autonomous mode. So we said, make it 4, at least one chap will be, we'll call him the drone pilot.
Yes.
The other 3 can be the passengers. So they're making a bigger one. I mean, applications are endless.
Yeah, I have interviewed the founders of the company that are actually working on this. Professor Nalapat, if you have a question, then we'll do one last round from the audience before we wrap up. Professor.
Yeah, actually, General, I'm very interested in what you have to say. You know very well that creating ambition in people so that they basically have the confidence to seize an opportunity, that's what creates achievement. Now, we have all seen individuals who somehow were not able to do very well in India, go out of the country and suddenly do extremely well. And now we are seeing increasingly the same kind of individual doing well in our own country. So what exactly is your message, particularly to young people who are looking for the next 25 years, for example? What was your message to them as to make sure that at the end of this 25 years, we are really going to be a completely transformed country?
The message is very simple. India is moving. India is imagining itself. India is ensuring that it is able to provide opportunities to the youth to use their imagination and prowess to take the country forward. The compliance regimes, the old rules, the way the roadblocks were, anybody who comes up with that, they're removed. So I think it is a time when everybody is looking back at the country. Yes, some people will still go out because they probably feel that they might had a bigger concern which may not be available in India. But I think large number of people, and look at the startups, the amount of startups that are taking place and number of unicorns that are coming up, it's a marvel. I'll just give you an example of a small company. It's called Pivot Chain. And this company, startup, is one of the best 5 in the world, making software for cameras which are used for surveillance. They have been able to install their software in places like Riyadh and Dubai. And it is slowly our own people are trusting our own people. Earlier, that used to be a problem. But I think today a time has come when this trust is growing.
Okay, let's get some questions across into the audience. I think Kartik ji has a question. Kartik ji, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, your ministry has been doing a phenomenal job. We've seen the benefits of how the highways and the transport ministry has been working. I happened to travel on the Mumbai-Pune, the Mumbai-Delhi expressway from Ranthambore to Delhi. It was phenomenal. But sir, at the same time, this is a specific question for Haryana. The Manesar toll on Khidki Dhaula, which connects Gurgaon to Manesar, a number of RWAs have approached us and saying that, we are wanting that this toll should move out at some point of time. Would you be able to shed some light on it? When do you think that will happen? Because that has been a bit of a roadblock for the residents in that area. Would you be able to shed some light on that, sir?
Okay, all right. I'll take a few questions, sir, then Kartik ji will get you it. Sir, can we get a mic to sir, please?
मेरा प्रश्न आपसे है कि हम लोग जो पहाड़ पे रोड बनाते हैं तो पहाड़ को काट रहे हैं और जिसकी वजह से पहाड़ों में बहुत सारी दिक्कत आ रही है, लैंडस्लाइड होती हैं उसकी जगह पर हमने देखा है कि अब्रॉड में भी बहुत जगह पर पिलर बेस्ड रोड्स हैं, पिलर और स्ट्रक्चर बेस्ड। अगर उस तरह से रोड बनाई जाए तो मुझे लगता है कि पहाड़ों को काटने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, और आए दिन जो रेनी सीजन में वो लैंड स्लाइड्स होती हैं, पहाड़ों को हम सेव कर सकते हैं।
Okay, that's a practical suggestion. Any other questions? I see a gentleman at the very back. I think we'll just take one or two questions and we'll wrap up a short of time. आप अपना नाम भी बता दीजिएगा प्लीज।
Hello sir, I am really honored to see you in person today here. My name is Himanshu and my question to you is, like sir, we talk a lot about development and construction of roads, but what about the corruption on roads, like the truck drivers and the transporters that face the corruption of RTOs and the police workers, that this is also something which is struggling for our development, which is also stucking. So I want your cordial views on this.
Okay, we've addressed high level and now the low level. So let's take the issue of the Manesar toll plaza, sir.
See, so far as the Manesar road is concerned, now that we have opened the Dosa road, where people can now reach Jaipur in 2.5 hours or quarter to 3 hours, this road is under maintenance to ensure that it becomes better. We are going to ensure that this road becomes much better than what it is today. And once more number of people start using the Dosa road, which is likely, the pressure on this road will go down. At the moment, the pressure is very high. And our aim also is to ensure that the amount of traffic which goes from Delhi to Gurgaon and Manesar, how do we cater for it? We are just couple of months away from the Dwarka Expressway to open up. Once that opens up, it will take the traffic away from the main Delhi-Gurgaon Expressway. So it will reduce the load. And then I think things will start becoming better.
Is there any possibility of reviewing that toll booth, sir, which is a problem for all of us?
We are doing that. We are doing that.
Okay. Mountain road versus pillar-made roads.
Each road that you make in the mountains, all aspects are studied. The geology, the seismic zone, etc., etc. Till now, the old technology used to be you go along the contour lines. Now we are looking at it of tunneling through. Our mountains are very young, unfortunately, the Himalayas. They have got major issues. There are areas where it is only mud and rock. The moment you cut it or you bore it, the whole thing starts coming down. So we are trying our best. We have got experts from various parts of India as well as abroad to put in mitigation measures in place. There are some areas where we have tried this in Uttarakhand. Construction that was done about 3 years back. In 2 years' time, mitigation has taken place. What is new, it will take another year for it to stabilize. Same is the problem in Jammu and Kashmir. The Zedmore tunnel, which is about 6.5 kilometers, the geology is very bad. Extremely bad. I mean, you don't know in the next bore what is going to come out. So it's a different challenge by itself. So it is, the aim is not to cut the mountains because it creates its own problems. But if tunneling is not feasible, then there is no other alternative. You want a wider road and you want a better road. There are some areas where we are not going to make a very wide road, but a road which will be able to take the type of traffic that you can.
And I've seen the development happen in the highway to Rishikesh. The pillared roads are coming up, which of course makes the road a bit straighter also, which makes it convenient. Okay, build the highways, but what about the petty levels of problems from the RTOs, the police, in truckers functioning and other things, sir?
There are two issues here. One, ours is a federal entity. There are certain things with the state, there are certain things with the center. I can control the center, states becomes difficult. RTO organization, a lot of people call it the dacoity organization, hopefully we'll improve it. It is under the control of the state. And that is where most of the problems start. We are in touch with all transport unions, we are in touch with the states to put in measures which will ensure that there is a greater transparency. For example, we are saying that nobody would be allowed to stop a transport vehicle except where a toll is. And at the, near the toll, there is a wayside amenity. We are creating parking space with lights, which will ensure that this kind of a thing gets minimized. When you are under a camera, under light, obviously, if a person is not absolutely shameless and he has a little bit of shame, he's not going to steal or do dacoity. So things are being done. It'll take a little time. It has to get out of the nature of people who are in that organization.
Okay, last couple of questions, sir. I'll just take from here before you wind up, and it's a testament to what Rakesh was saying. We are winding up before time because sir was here early. On GITI Shakti. Now, GITI Shakti is not a project or a scheme. It's supposed to be, to my understanding, an attitude across all projects and schemes. What does it actually mean, and how are you implementing it?
See, one of the problems that we used to have in infrastructure projects has been conceived. There are many stakeholders. There are many ministries who are contributing into it. So when you start taking progress of that project, you find because it has gone to so-and-so ministry or so-and-so ministry's work was there, it has not taken place. Let's take a simple example. Road means you have to get the land, you go to get the forest clearances, you go to environmental clearances, you need to ensure that the requisite quantity of various things comes from somewhere. Now, how do you coordinate all of them? GITI Shakti ensures that. GITI Shakti ensures that all stakeholders are working for one aim. It is a project for all of them. It is not that this is not my project, this is so-and-so's project. How am I interested in it? Whether the road comes up or not, or the airport comes up or not. Today, under GITI Shakti, if that project is included, it is whole of government approach. And then you look at it from that point of view. You say, okay, this road is coming here, the railway track is coming from this side, there's the airport here. Why don't you put a multimodal logistics hub so that it becomes easier for you to do transportation, which is cheaper, which is economical, which makes more sense. So that's how 36 multimodal logistic hubs have been planned, and these are coming up. First one is at Jogigopa, so that it it takes care of the things coming by rail, things coming by via the Brahmaputra, and there's the airport not very far away. So all this gets combined and coordinated. So that is what GITI Shakti is all about, and it is a great initiative to ensure that things move fast, things move in a coordinated manner.
Okay, multimodal is another topic of conversation because I know another one is coming up in Juwar. Last question, sir. Please go ahead.
Well, General, we are in the 2023, the year in which India has the presidency of the G20. And one very important point about what activities that are going on, the expansion of activities, and more importantly, the involvement of even small towns where leaders from different countries are coming. So, you have traveled the length and breadth of India several times. Tell me what you feel about the fact that there has been a complete change since 2014. Before that, the attention was on the large cities. First it was Delhi and Bombay, maybe Chennai, then it became some metro centers. But today you got an attention to, about 200 smaller cities and towns. So what difference has that made, and what kind of power and what kind of energy do you see in these smaller centers?
Let me start by saying that we are lucky to have a very innovative and very passionate leader in Modi ji. Very innovative. Thinks out of the box. The model that you said, which was earlier, was a set model. Okay, everybody will come to Delhi, Mumbai, will have large conference and matter ends. Here is a leader who said, okay, it is G20, we have got the presidency of G20. Do they know India? Do they know the diversity of India? Do they know the power of India? And therefore, they must see India and see that it is not just Delhi, Bombay, Hyderabad and Bangalore. There is much more to India than what these 4 or 5 big places are. And hence, they were at various places, events are being organized. People have gone to Guwahati, they've been mesmerized. I mean, I attended one of the seminars of G20 out there, which had to do something with peace building and reconciliation. All the delegates who had come, they're mesmerized by the beauty, the people, the way the things are, and the way we treat our guests. It's something unique. No, it happens nowhere. So I think it has been an opportunity which has been used to ensure that India is seen positively, India is seen as a leader, and India is seen as a country which they must visit time and again.
Okay, I believe there's one last question with ma'am has, and then let's wrap up. Ma'am, please go ahead.
Hi, General Singh. Good to have you here. I just have one quick question is to basically, as an individual more than as a minister, is that we all pay taxes anyway. So we expect good roads, we expect good highways, we are paying vehicle tax, road tax, etc., etc. Then why then do you have to have a toll tax also? Doesn't it just increase corruption? These toll taxes booths are known as, kiosks of corruption rather than anything else. So isn't there any way that, we can do without the toll booths?
See, world over, there is a practice that you pay for better facility. So the toll system is based on that. And this money is utilized to ensure that the roads are kept as good as they were when they were made. This money is recycled back into the roads. Problem is, earlier it used to be manual, there used to be a lot of corruption. The moment we brought in FASTag, things have reduced to a great level, except few places where you've got some bad elements manning the tolls because they are, contracted out, and they're not with the NHAI. We ask people to bid for them, and they run it for a particular fixed time. We have realized that here also there are problems. Now, next about a year or so, you will find another change. And the change will be, there will be no barriers. Your vehicle, when you go, the number plate will be photographed. It will be put into the computer. When you exit that number of kilometers, computer calculates. You are again photographed there. You are not stopping anywhere. And on your mobile, you will get a small message, so much money has been deducted. Ease. Of course, money will still be painful that you have paid for that.
Okay, it's ease if not less toll. Okay, with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big round of applause. It's been a pretty freewheeling conversation, and we've touched upon some hard topics and, of course, major policy decisions. Let's not forget why we are here. Something iconic is coming up very shortly in this country, which is right behind me in terms of a diagram. India's new parliament building is to be inaugurated, to which the series is dedicated. And it's been a treat and a pleasure to have General VK Singh with us here. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody.
With that, we take a break. Thank you very much for watching.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.